All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 436 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk more Georgia Southern football. I know I'm supposed to talk about Atlanta Falcons football, but to be quite honest, I'm not necessarily disappointed in the Atlanta Falcons because it's the NFL. But it's just so much going on with college football and what Georgia Southern's doing. It is exciting. It is a very exciting time to be following or being a fan or just keeping your ear close to what Georgia Southern is doing because it is a great time in Statesboro. We're going to talk about all of that and everything under that umbrella. We will end up doubling back to the Atlanta Falcons as they play the Rams. I'll do a pregame show on my YouTube channel and we'll just go from there. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can listen to the podcast on any of those avenues. You also can, if you want to watch the visual side of the show, it's YouTube and Rumble, and you can just listen at your leisure. All the links down in the description are there to help promote and support the channel. If you want to check those areas out, that'd be great as well. And we're just going to get into what is going on at Georgia Southern. I mean, we just got finished beating Nebraska, elevating the program to not necessarily to a powerhouse or anything like that, but we're getting national recognition all over the country. People are still thinking that we're the other Georgia team down here, but that's not the case. That's another story for another day. Don't want to talk about Georgia State, but we're getting a lot of recognition, and the recognition is looking really good. We got to go play UAB, and if we win that game, we're going to be looking good for the season, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. First and foremost, I want to talk about Benko, our athletic director for Georgia Southern. He was extended for 5 more years. He gets a contract extension, and it kind of lines up with what Coach Clay Helton is under contract for as well. So these two guys are somewhat tied at the hip for I'm not sure because I can't remember Coach Clay Helton's contract completely. If you guys know, please let me know in the comment section on YouTube or hit me up on Twitter at VF Baller. Just let me know because I cannot remember. I usually have the information in front of me, but that a part of the show just came on the fly, so I don't know. But these two guys, as far as the football program goes, have made extraordinary strides to bring the attempt to make this program back to the prominence it was, albeit it was mostly in the FCS, but still, I have to show that we're able to run with the other teams in the FBS. And with this coaching hire and with Benko coming in and showing what he can do at Georgia Southern, it is a phenomenal thing that's been going on for the past few years. And not only just in football, you look at all the other athletics that they've been doing. I mean, the golf team is doing great right now. The baseball team did some nice things. The women's basketball team was showing some shine. It was doing pretty well at one point as well. So it's all over the place. Rifle team. I mean, even the cheerleaders are winning trophies. So it's just a good thing to see if Georgia Southern football could do the same thing. And with Eric, I'm about to call him Jared. Call him Eric. With Jared Benko at the helm, showing and leading the way of what he wants as far as excellence for this program, it's exactly what you want. Because there was also rumblings that he was possibly going to be going elsewhere, and other teams or other programs were trying to get him away because he's already been doing a great job prior to this football season. So with all the things he's been doing, other schools was probably trying to get to him, but he decided to be extended for the next 5 years. His contract is up, according to Frank Solkowski on WJCL News. It is up to 2027, and his base salary is going up. He's making, don't like to talk about people's money, but he's making a significant amount of money for the job that he's doing. As of right now, I think everything is on point for this team, the football team, and this program to continue to elevate themselves to a higher level. And you wouldn't want nobody else that's leading the charge, in my opinion, other than Clay Helton, not Clay Helton, but Jared Benko. And you want somebody that's on the football team and the coach like a Clay Helton, because Clay Helton has done a pretty good job so far. I mean, with the Morgan State game, and then we turn right back around and beat Nebraska, and a phenomenal, way to win that game. And then now going up against UAB. I talked about that in a previous episode on what we are up against. But I want to talk about what could be the possibility. What's the possibility if we end up beating UAB and we're looking at the rest of the schedule? Because we play Ball State after that. And I want to say after that we play Georgia State. Let me pull up the let's see, where is there we go. Let me pull up the schedule and we can talk about this really quick. At the Ball State we go play Coastal Carolina, which is not the Coastal Carolina of a few years ago. Then we go play Georgia State. Now, I like to take this one game at a time, and I'm not about to go through all the possible wins and losses of every game that we have here. But I will say this. What if they do beat UAB? And to be honest, it's not going to be as easy as we think it is, but it's a possibility that we can start off at, 4-0 before we get to conference play. I talked about what we need to defend in the UAB game. I will turn back around and talk about that in the pregame show this weekend before the game. So hopefully you guys will check that out on YouTube and Rumble. But I'm looking at this schedule. The way things are going down right here, it is a very good possibility. And like I said, I really don't want to go no further than the Ball State game, because once Ball State comes through, it is conference time. Conference play, not Ball State, but Coastal Carolina and everybody else in the Sun Belt. It's going to be a tough task to get through this. But the way things are shaping up, what if this team ends up being undefeated and going up against Appalachian State at the end of the season? You see what I'm saying? This type of stuff, and you're playing every week, and you're playing at the level that you're playing at. Obviously, you have other teams that's on the schedule. That's definitely a threat to take you down on that particular Saturday. But when you're looking at what you have in front of you, it's actually looking. It doesn't look as tough as we thought it was in the beginning of the season. I sat here and said it was going to go 8-4. I was one of the few that actually was touting that back in March or April. And I used to put the meme up with the count from Sesame Street holding up the number 8, just to troll people, to let them know, like, look, I'm sitting on this 8 wins. And after the game against Nebraska, and if we beat UAB, it could be a real conversation that we could possibly pull 5 more wins out of what we have here. But what happens if we can run the table and we end up down in November losing maybe one game or none games? That's not even sound, run none games, but 0 games. What do we look like at that point? I mean, how big that is for recognition? So when you're looking at this team, and I've heard that I heard a little rumblings that we're going to have some recruits at the Ball State game, or guys who want are looking into coming to the school. And you look at the other games, the James Madison's, the South Alabama game, the Marshall and the Appalachian State's games. This is one of the reasons why, and I'm going to do a separate video on this, and I need to do a separate video, especially, I probably will put it more into fruition once we beat UAB, or I ain't going to say once we beat UAB. I want us to beat UAB. But if we beat UAB, I'm really going to talk about this, and I'm just going to give you a small gist of it. We as a fan base, we as, alum and people who have been to the school and have been supporting the school for a very long time, if you haven't already, you really want to do that. Support the school to the fullest, because with Jared Benko being extended 5 more years, Clay Helton is at the coaching position. You got all this opportunity right now to be successful this season, year 1. You have the opportunity to be successful year 1. And if we are, it's just going to continue to garner more eyes on this team, much of a bigger fan base. You have no idea what these games would be like if Marshall and Appalachian State are, one-loss teams, and we are possibly at best or at worst a one-loss team as well. And we have to play both of those teams back to back in Statesboro. It's going to be bananas. We already got recruits coming into Ball State. We need fans to go out there and be supportive as well. The James Madison game looked like a good one that, people may show up to, recruits and scouts and all this other stuff. That Marshall and Appalachian State game, especially based on what they've done already, all three of these teams have done already, go up to Power 5 schools and beat these teams. It will behoove us to support the team. I'm not saying like by coming out your pocket, but never stop screaming how good Georgia Southern can be to anybody and everybody who wants to listen. Represent this team, especially if you love Georgia Southern football. Get it in everybody's ear. Hey, you need to watch what these guys are doing. Hey, you need to pay attention of what these guys are putting on, or the product they're putting on the field. Watch how Coach Clay Helton is resurrecting a program and making it into once again a winning culture. And I'm not talking about like winning 6, 7, 8 games. These guys are on a trajectory to be winning double-digit seasons every year if things continue to where they're going. And I know the defense is a little suspect. I get it. That can be worked out throughout the season. But as far as what we're looking at on this roster and what we're looking at on this schedule, it could be a situation where Jared Benko and Coach Clay Helton are going to be looking really nice once this team shows how much success they can have. And like I said, it's a good time to jump on board. It's a great time to jump on board and be supportive. The more we need, the better we are, because at the end of the day, we need to show everybody in the Sun Belt, everybody in the Group of 5, everybody in the Power 5, that this team is prideful. This team has something to play for. We smelt, we touched, we ate championships here at Georgia Southern. And we need to sit here and act like we know what we're doing. And I'm not saying that we're not, but we need to amplify that completely. Because when you got a guy in Coach Clay Helton that's going to be here for a good while, because it was a phenomenal article that was out that was put out about him wanting to make a perennial Group of 5 team as a part of his legacy, to make one a top-notch team. And you got Jared Benko here that's going to be the AD for the next 5 years. We have an opportunity to support what this team has. And with enough support, we could be in a situation where we're not even worrying about none of these guys are leaving, because the fan base and everybody is supportive and we love them so much. They may want to stick around after the contract is up. But by then, in 5 years or 4 years, I expect Georgia Southern to be, dare I might say, better than what App State is putting out. Dare I say that? Better than what Appalachian State putting out? Because don't get it twisted. Appalachian State is just a well-disciplined coach. Yes, they do have some great recruits, but we recruit from the same pool that they do. So like our athletes is just as good as their athletes and vice versa. And you get a lot of 3-star guys. You maybe get 1 4-star guy. That's got the same thing what Georgia Southern did. Both our teams got like 1. I think we got 1 or 2 4-star guys. But when you get those guys in with that mentality that they can feel that they can run with anybody, the win at Texas A&M happened. The win at Marshall happened for Marshall against Notre Dame happened, and what we done in Nebraska that happened that helps as well. So at the end of the day, what we need to really look into is just support. Support Jared Benko. He decided to stay here for 5 more years. We need to give him that support because he could have possibly been gone. Coach Clay Helton decided to leave LA to come down here and coach the Georgia Southern Eagles. And so far, it's looking pretty good. Defense, we're going to talk more about, we're going to talk more about that later. The offense is on point, but the defense, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And we are in the trajectory to make things happen. and I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I don't want to beat the dead horse. We're back up to the 15-minute mark. I think I said everything I needed to say. Congratulations to Coach. I keep calling him Coach. Congratulations to AD Jared Benko for extending for 5 more years, getting that money, getting that bag, and actually representing, Georgia Southern to the fullest. And Coach Clay Helton, hopefully he will continue to be the coach that he looks like he's going to be for this school. If you like this commentary, the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. The visual side of this is on YouTube and Rumble. I love what's going on here. I really do. And hopefully you guys love it as well. I'm going to get up out of here. I got a couple things I got to do as far as, working on more content for this podcast and other things I have to do as well. I really appreciate you guys watching and supporting. I really, really do. I cannot thank you guys enough. All right, y'all. I'm going to get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your time, and I'll see you again on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.